Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Quantum Spirituality right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest today is repeat Heather Taylor and her husband, Ben D'Amico. We're going to be talking today about ZenBen's unique mindset for clarity, focus, and inner peace using AI. Well, that's quite intriguing, isn't it? Well, I'm just going to go back a little bit because a couple of weeks ago I interviewed Heather. She's an inspirational force behind Get Tailored, a wellness haven in the serene Mount Shasta, California. She is a wonderful woman that truly and utterly lives in her spirit, in her essence, in her soul. And she's there to ignite and uplift and illuminate other people on their journey into self-divine awareness. And her husband does that too, but using technology. And people look at technology and they think, how can technology and spirituality go together? They go perfectly together when you know what you're doing. So Ben, ZenBen as he is known, is a true embodiment of the fusion between business acumen and holistic wellness. As a business coach, AI technology pioneer, Alchemy crystal singing bowl master, he brings a harmonious balance between an analytical prowess and spiritual grounding to every endeavor. He's an early AI investor in the AI revolution, which returns like 25,000% gain on NVID. I don't know what that is. We're going to have to find that out. Ben has been a forefront of recognizing the potent power of artificial intelligence for individuals and business alike. And Zendek, when's the last time your tech guy could do handstands while playing singing bowls? And ZenBen's unique approach transcends the conventional infusion. His expertise with Zen-like mindset for clarity, focus, and inner peace, essential qualities for navigating the complexities of the modern business landscape. His commitment to Zendek means seamlessly integrating cutting-edge technology with universal wisdom, creating solutions that not only drive profitability, but also cultivate a sense of harmony and purpose. I love that. Harmony and purpose is what it's all about, because actually that's what purpose is, right? Is finding the harmony, finding the flow, finding the rhythm. Um, I've actually said this quite a number of times that I believe AI is going to help us elevate our consciousness, elevate to a higher plane. There's something about technology that um, does stuff that is too complex for us or too time consuming or sometimes out of our reach and thought. And it allows our spirit to actually fly and explore even more. So I am fascinated, Ben. When I did the show with Heather, it was like she was talking about, I've got to interview him. I've got to interview him. I want to know more. So welcome to the show, both of you. Delighted to have you both here. But I'm going to jump right into you, Ben. Please tell me more. Zentech, how does it work? What's your purpose behind it?
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us. Well, my thing behind it is that I've had a unique experience, right, working in this sort of spiritual community and businesses and even traveling internationally for a long time. So I got to really see a big part of the modern spiritual community and learn from a lot of amazing teachers. And so what I am doing is, and even backing up a little bit before my career in spirituality, basically, I was always into computers and grew up on
Mm,
computers. So it started to fuse, and I started to help spiritual people with technology
mhm.
because it was my natural strength and what I love to do. And it was a lot of times a challenge for gifted people spiritually to work computers or use technology efficiently or even properly. And so, yeah, for me, it's about bringing that intuitiveness and simplicity of spirituality to technology and making technology relatable and easy in that way so that people, no matter what your strengths are, you can use it and get the benefits from it. And that's really where my passion comes in, is equipping spiritual and really heart-centered people with the technology so they can accomplish their goals.
Everything has a frequency, everything is a vibration, everything is energy. So basically, what we're doing with tapping in with technology, it's a different form of energy. And for me, I'm a dyslexic. So for me, writing things out used to be frustrating because I'd see an error, I'd write things backwards, and I couldn't even read my own writing. So when I first got a computer and I started typing and I could correct and rearrange and it became a voice for me, became a freedom. And many people talk about, the hand to paper, that connection, as it is feet to earth. I'm completely the opposite. When I'm on the computer, that's where my spirit flies. And when I'm up in the air, so to speak, that's where I'm a cosmic child, not necessarily an earth one. So when we look at things as being something that allows our own beautiful divine presence or essence to come out, it is a most incredible tool, isn't it? Just like your bowls would be to bring the sounds that transcend people, the technology is the same thing.
Right, yeah, it can have the same effect. And I personally have experienced that and am on a rapid evolution of that right now because AI is advancing very, very fast. And so, yeah, I definitely agree. The power of technology and the power of things more directly like singing bowls or meditation, they both can impact our awareness and our skills.
It goes back to consciousness, doesn't it, Heather? Anything could be weaponized. And of course, the AI, we've already seen examples of it, where we have Biden and Trump picnicking together, which we know never would happen. But there are some people that, oh, it must be so. But AI has created it. And you can still see in certain AI things where the mouth isn't quite moving organically as it should be. So you know that is there. But like with anything, it is operator beware. Same when you get behind a car, right? You can drive it recklessly, you can drive it sensibly. It can get you from A to B, it can take you wondrous places. But we've got to have that conscious responsibility, don't we, Heather?
Well, one of the things that I'm so grateful that you brought that up, because as he's sharing, that was coming up for me. So we're telepathing. I'm enjoying that. We're connected. One of the things I think is so important, and I really feel it deeply, is how, we do have teams of people. Like there's a company that my husband is helping right now that one of their goals is to protect and support the development of AI in a positive way and to really not allow the, people that maybe have negative agendas to come in and be able to take it over. So one of the things I thought was really important for the show today was, there's so much fear around AI.
Yes.
There's so much, this, I don't understand it, are they going to take over our world? There's just so much of that coming into the consciousness. And I feel like it's good questions because it gives opportunity to dive in deeper and give those answers. So that was one of the biggest things for me with Ben. And when he started to get involved in those layers, I thought, yes, this is really important because people need to understand that if we have the wisdom and the knowledge, if we really open up ourselves to at least be open to having the information, the real information, the tangible information, it'll alleviate a lot of that fear. And I feel like Ben has a lot of those answers.
And those answers are needed. I mean, yes, let's face it, we need to protect ourselves from, the agendas of some. And again, that's where that consciousness comes in. In the wrong mindset, it's going to be used wrong. In the right mindset, it's going to be used right. But how do we protect ourselves from the wrong mindset? How can we use all of these technologies with good intentions? and protect ourselves from all of those other outside forces knocking on our door then?
Well, it's going to take a level of education because the technology is so advanced,
Mhm.
and if somebody were to say have a concern with AI, I think it would be appropriate and reasonable to have concerns with other big systems within
Mm.
society, because there's other technologies out there such as the media that
Mhm.
there's agenda behind uh, all the media basically, and so understanding how that works is your only defense really,
Yeah.
so you're not just blindly you know falling into their system, right, so to speak. So the same thing goes with AI. If you are unaware of all the places where you're interacting with it and making choices in and around it, you may not be able to protect yourself. So what I would say is either you yourself or somebody that you trust
Mhm.
should learn about AI and should learn how to use it for your own benefits. Um, the way that the technology is going is that there's going to be different AIs uh, in every different city, in every different country,
Mhm.
and they'll be tailored to the uses of the local people and of the local business or the whatever. It'll be tailored more and more to individuals, and so it's going to create all these different sort of species of AI,
Mhm.
and all of them have different levels of intelligence and different creators with different levels of consciousness. So
It's
we
buyer
can blow
beware,
this up
isn't it?
really big. Yeah,
Yeah.
buyer beware.
Yeah.
And we, as spiritual and intuitive people, uh, I feel that people with that skill are going to have the greatest advantage
Mhm.
with this AI and technology revolution, because what's happening now is the technology is going from really technical and where there's a large learning curve to now with AI, that gap is basically being bridged, so
Mm.
that you don't any longer need to have such deep technical skills to be
Yes.
able to create very technologically advanced software or tools or AI assistants. Um, the What I'm getting at here is the user friendliness of
Yes.
technology is getting so much easier because of AI and because of being able to interact just through natural language.
Mhm.
So it's also kind of where I'm taking this, and my passion is because now people that would never dream of creating software or a automation that could save them hours and hours a week or a month, now they can, just by simply describing it in plain language.
Mhm.
And this is bringing up a lot of fear for jobs. People are
Yes.
afraid they're going to lose jobs. And we've been kind of chatting about that. We were at the hot springs, swimming in the pool with the Ganesha statue and kind of doing our thing. We were talking about that. And I think one of the points that he came up with was really powerful, if you feel guided to share it, about how it can actually benefit a person's job and
Yeah.
how to have a curve in that.
Well, I'm the
Yes.
perfect proof of that. Even though it wasn't AI, but maybe 10 years ago, I was working with a company and helping them create software systems to make their operations more efficient. And now with AI, what we kind of spent tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on, now you can create with AI for $100 and a matter of days instead of months. So I myself, through that journey, was sort of automating myself into a promotion, is kind of what
Yeah.
the term I've been using. And that's what everybody can do. If you are closed off to technology, yeah, somebody else might automate you and automate you out,
Mhm.
or automate your position. But if you're open and you're looking at how you can be efficient in your job, you're not going to have any issue.
Yeah.
Uh, there's plenty of opportunity, and what I'm encouraging companies to do is to keep their employees and repurpose them and put
Yeah,
them into more human-like jobs and
more
automate
creative.
the other stuff.
Mm,
Exactly. Because companies have a huge investment in employees, and to me, it's just kind of silly for them to let them go after all that training and investment and time.
yeah.
So
You always
it's,
need the human factor,
yeah, and,
right?
and some companies are already aware of that and doing that.
Mm,
So,
mm.
but
Kind of reminds
yeah,
me of Star Trek, one of the movies where he's come back in time to save the whales and he's trying to talk to the computer and the computer doesn't respond to voice. And it's like, how archaic, and we're getting there, right? Where we'll just be able to voice command. And we're so close to that. And in many other
yeah,
ways, we're actually already doing it. I'm waiting for that one for sure. Um, but the other thing I want to talk about is, the algorithm of life. Now, all social media is run by an algorithm. So what you feed is what you're going to get back. So when people are so afraid because Amazon and every social media and your government and God knows who else out on Mars is gathering your information. So for me, it's like, take my information, be enlightened, open up your mind, because what I put out there is stuff that leaves the question mark or inspires people to look deeper. And it makes us more mindful and heartful and soulful of what we're putting out. So I'm not afraid of anybody picking anything up I have over there. I hope it benefits them. And I think obviously bank accounts, and I've just got a new card having to be delivered because somebody's hacked my bank account. And that is something we do have to get better at, is protecting voting and banks and things like this. Here in Canada, our London drugs were closed down for over a week because of a cyber hack. That's a lot of income to be lost throughout Canada. All London drugs pharmacies closed down. And so, yes, we do have that threat, and we do need to up our game as far as protection. Always be one step ahead of the hackers, right? But at the
Mhm.
same time, don't be afraid of what you're putting out and who's picking it up. Hope that it illuminates or enlightens someone, because that's where that higher consciousness comes in. If you've taken away the mundane from somebody, the filing, the thising, the thating, you're now actually allowing them to step into creative sources of actually to expand what is possible, because their time isn't being consumed on what it used to be consumed by. So I think it's just a question of being able to look at it from a different point of view and not being afraid of who you are. We talked about this on your show yesterday, Heather, about taking responsibility and onus of ourselves. We point a finger, everybody's fault, right? There's three pointing back at us, our responsibility, accountability. What are we going to do about it?
Unless you're Ruben and he's like,
Dissecting everything, yes. But that's the point, is don't be afraid to be yourself, and constantly in growth and constantly in, when people are in that high frequency, which scientists have measured now, when people are in a state of love, it is above the 580 hertz. When you're in that state and that frequency, you can't knowingly do harm to others. To do so would be to harm yourself. So when we have people in that higher consciousness, they're going to automatically want to do things that benefit others. So I think, again, that liberation of raising our consciousness, I believe this is a tool that's been given to us to take care of the nitty gritty and allow us to expand in that consciousness.
totally. I agree with that. Yeah, for me, I totally agree. It allows me to focus on the things I really want to do and
Mm-hmm.
the human interactions
Mm-hmm.
and all the fun stuff, and the stuff that I have to do repetitively over and over. I can just let AI do that,
Mm-hmm.
and I can focus on improving the quality even more or having more time with my family, whatever that might be.
Mm. Are you
mhm, you
yourself
have a
using it,
lot of
Heather, or you pass it over to Ben?
Um, so I have been passing it over to Ben, but now I am using it. This all started with Heather AI. I mean,
Mm,
Ben's been doing AI and technology forever. But what happened is, Ben was like, honey, I can't keep up with your emails. I need to
mm-hmm.
get these email blasts up. And I mean, even at this point, I have 2 assistants and I still have 74,000 emails. So
Wow.
it's, there's so much, right?
Yes.
And so he created Heather AI.
Mm.
And when he created Heather AI, I had gotten on a woman, he had sent it out to a partnership. And a woman, beautiful woman, she said, "Can I schedule a call with you?" And I was like, "Sure." And I get a call, she goes, "I don't know who wrote your email. I don't know if it was you. I don't know if it was somebody else, but I literally could feel you."
Mm-hmm.
And I started laughing and I said, "It's Heather AI." And she says, "What?" I said, "Well, my husband gave me a list of questions to answer and he put in a bunch of information about me and how I communicate and what my words are. And he created this AI that reflected who I am." And what made me excited about that is that, look, AI is here. It's
Yes.
not going
Nope.
anywhere. And if my soul's reflection, my heart-based living can be reflected in that community, because it is a community, it's a conscious community, then I can be one of those little pieces of light that brings love and brings joy. And it's like, for me, I don't choose to focus on, I'm aware of the negative, but
Yeah,
I don't focus on the negative.
exactly.
I choose to put my heart and my soul into what I want to experience.
Yes.
And I feel like with Ben creating that Heather AI, it really brought that awareness. So now I have it downloaded on my computer and I am now starting to do that. And I think it's really powerful, but I definitely am still like that. I am one of those people that are like hanging up here and have one pin on the ground. So I'm like, "Honey, what do I do?" I mean, even yesterday I had to reset up everything because I've been traveling. And I was like, "Okay, there's echoing. Where's the button? What do I do?" So he's definitely my power there, my grounding, my energy source in that space. But I feel like he's onto something. He turned Heather AI into Partner Profit AI, which now is a system that creates AI for each individual or each company
Excellent.
separately, which is amazing, right?
Yes.
So I feel like I was like, "Babe, I'm totally grateful for everything you do for me, but I feel like it's time for you to do this for you. Like, this is your joy, and I
Yeah.
want you to put your joy in that." So, long
And it's
answer.
so needed. It's so needed, right? This is the thing. And my book, which we talked about yesterday, which is up on the shelf there, because I'm dyslexic and grammar and spelling is out the door. All right. So I just couldn't afford an editor at the time. And so I gave it to AI to edit. And what I found was that it articulated where I dropped, right? Or it filled out or decreased. It stopped repetitiveness, and it edited my entire book. And in reading it, I thought it, because you have to give it instructions. So, it is right in my voice, and, shorten, articulate this or that to give it instructions. And I have found there's times where I'm writing a blog and, your mind is so saturated with so many things, and you write something and, it's not kind of coming out clear. I give it to AI, and what it does, it's always my voice, it's always my words, but it is just more articulated, clearer, and more concise. So if I'm not in the zone and able to kind of produce it on my own, I know that AI can do it for me. And it's always going to be something that is me. And that's where, that's, I think, where people get lost. No, it's artificial because AI, artificial. No, it actually is essence of you, right? And if you know exactly how to instruct it, it does get to know you and who you are. And, one of my conditions is suffering from depression. And one day I was a little bit on the edge of the rabbit hole there, and I decided to talk to AI. And I shared my feelings with AI, and AI came back with, solutions. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? I'm there for you, etc. And it was so impressive, I decided to put it out as a blog. And I'm actually going to be interviewing AI soon. When my son-in-law is going
Yes.
to do that, because I want my son will do the voice thing of it, my son-in-law, because he and I could talk AI and artificial. My daughter is out to lunch on that, forget it. He's the one on that. And I was telling Heather yesterday in the show that he put together a 3.5 minute video where he took my voice and a mimic voice of him, of me interviewing Colonel Mustard on condiments. And it was so funny, but it was completely my voice. And it was just hilarious. And this is the thing, we can use it for entertainment, we can use it for expressing, we can use it in so many ways. This is the invitation to be creative and explore other avenues, things that maybe would have cost a lot if we hired a cameraman or this or that, you can now do. So it's I think it's a level playing field in many ways.
That's right. Yeah, it really, it's doing that in a huge way, because you can put in the expertise or draw on the AI's expertise, but you can basically program in or bake in the
Mhm.
expertise of a lawyer or the expertise of a marketer into the applications, and you don't have to go to law school, or you don't have to go
Yeah,
to marketing school to take advantage of their frameworks and
Knowledge.
their knowledge, and you can just put in what you know and have it run through the system, and then it can come out, like you're saying, more concisely or
yeah.
more coherently. Yeah, it's all how you set it up.
And just
It
as a
designed my logos.
disclaimer,
I
right?
finessed it, but the core of my logos, because I wanted something that was just me. And, because I had something, but somebody else had something similar. So I wanted something that was just me, and the two logos for the two different sites. And the core of that came out, and all I did was just added the words around the edge. So, and that is synonymous with me and my site, right?
Right. And just a disclaimer, everybody, we're not saying use AI as your attorney, but we are saying that,
Yes.
you have consults that, you'll go to an attorney and they will just give basic information. This is basic information that you can get that can help you prepare if you do need to go to a lawyer, because
Mm.
sometimes you might find yourself at a consult, you spend $500 and you didn't even need a lawyer for it.
It's the
So
same with a
it's
doctor.
And
How
it's
often do
same.
we
it's
go to
really
a
the
doctor and we just don't know what to ask? I mean, they expect us to know all the mechanics of our body. I just know I hurt. Well, if you could say to I hurt here and I hurt there, and then the AI can come back at you. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Then that you can take to the doctor and you can feel more intelligent, because sometimes you're sitting there and you feel like a dumbbell and not being able to explain what's wrong.
Yeah, and really it's like the future. I'm talking about even further and further, because as we do start to trust and get these AIs with these, volumes of human knowledge, as we get those trusted and true AIs, then the leveling of the playing field and the accessibility to knowledge and expertise, advice, medical
Mhm.
care, legal advice, all of that is going to be totally on an even playing field, because the cost is it's just like the internet,
Mhm.
being everywhere and accessible to everybody. That's basically going to start happening even on the next level, because everybody will be able to interact with AI on their phone.
They've already talked about it medically, training AI
Yep.
medically, downloading all the information for diagnosis,
It's
for
actually
complication.
there's AIs that have outperformed human
Doctors.
Yeah.
doctors are in
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, well,
yeah.
let's
diagnosing.
face it, we have our brain as a computer, but we don't have that quick accessibility. And you think, how many years does it take a doctor to download all that information? Right. And they've got to go through some configuration ways. It could be this, it could be that. Where with an AI, it can calculate that. Blah, 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 and there is that, answer, that conclusion. And yes, and the medical system, I don't know about where you are, but that medical system here in Canada, and my brother and sister in England, they're still using mail in England to go from one doctor to the other, and not having it on a database that all doctors can actually see what's going on, which is, here at least we're doing that. And it's like so needed in order for a hospital emergency. If you're going in, pull up your file, everything is there, and every doctor gets what, if you go to another doctor, what you're getting, so they're not cross treating you or giving you a drug you shouldn't be having. I mean, it's valuable. But yes, for diagnosis, in the surgery, in many other areas, it's going to be revolutionary.
Totally. And one thing I would recommend to you, now that I know you use AI too, So this would be fun. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. But one of the things that really caught my attention early on with uh, computers and programming was random number generators.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of a core function in computer programming to create random numbers. And when you think about random and you're creating random numbers in computers, how random is it really, right? So there's kind of this debate because of how you generate the randomness, right? So there's all different ways to do that. But AI uses random number generators in part of its technology. So the unique thing that I learned is that random number generators can actually be influenced with human intention.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so what the test that they did was that uh, no matter even if the person was on the other side of the planet, wherever they were, if they intended to see more zeros or more ones in the output of random zeros and ones, they would get more of what they would see, more of whatever they are intending to see.
So anticipating.
Yeah, so
Mm.
basically, I put this into practice when I use AI and do other things with technology, is I set my intention and I set my clear vision on what I want so that the computer also is aware and can create that for me too. And this is so relevant when you're using AI because when you ask it a question or you give it a prompt, it is going into that layers of the algorithm, right? And part of that is randomness,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a total influence on that. So if you're aware and you're humble and you're working with the AI in that way, it's going to even give you much more surprising and amazing and exactly what you were wanting to get, it will output for you. And it's kind of a hard thing to describe, but this is a perfect community,
So
I
would
think,
you say that AI could have your signature, your personal identity that it does not duplicate? So if you use the AI enough, you know that it recognizes you and your own algorithm, and therefore it retains that in memory and can bring about in everything that you do, and also make sure that nobody else mimics that. Can we get
you
there?
Yeah, oh, certainly. You can definitely get there. Right now, the way the technology is, you'd have to do it a little bit more manually,
Hmm.
sort of like how I created Heather AI.
Hmm.
And part of how I did that too is actually using transcripts of her speaking,
Yes.
doing presentations, things like that. So it'll be only as unique as how much data you give it.
Right. Yes, and you know, in our Forgotten Children book, which I was talking about yesterday, which is an anthology on the raising of our children, some of the hosts gave me the verbal of their chapter, and some of the hosts don't want to. And so we're going to AI it, and I have enough, audio there to pick up their voice and innuendos, etc., to transcribe it. And I'm going to do the same with my own book for one very good reason, is that even when I'm reading my book, I can, if I'm reading something, especially if the more I read, will start reversing words. That's just part of that dyslexia. So it can happen. If I'm reading short bursts, I'm fine. If I'm reading for too long, it will kind of start going out of sync. So I think the AI obviously will not miss the words, right? And kind of keep it going. So I'm fascinated to know how it's going. I've got to wait for my son-in-law on that because he's good on that audio side, and I've just moved, so 2 weeks here. There's a lot of things, pictures to go up. You should see the boxes outside here that need to be flattened, and there's two babies to look after, so it's kind of when we can grab time. But I'm looking forward to seeing where that can go, and I want to know more and more about it. I'm a bit slow in learning the technology. When I first started doing the podcast 12 years ago, my first show was a Monty Python skit. I pressed all the wrong buttons. And then 13 months later, I started my own network, which will be 11 years in June. And everything has been a learning curve. And I'm one of these people that I need to do it a few times in order to retain it. And so once if you just say, go and do this, I'm not seeing it the same way as you are. But when I've done it a few times, then I get it. So I think with any technology, it's be patient with yourself on how you learn. and what it is you're wanting out of it. And it's going to be forever elevating. And you don't have to elevate at every level. You're going to elevate at what your need is, where your conscious is, what you're wanting it to serve. It's here to serve us. We've got to remember that it's here to serve us so we can
Right.
elevate.
And going back to what Ben was talking about with the setting the intention, that just is really a big fat confirmation for me that we create our life and we
Yeah.
create what we experience, and we create that through our frequency. And everything is energy.
Absolutely everything.
Everything.
Yes.
And when you think back to, the origin of this artificial intelligence, right? It's all completely created and designed by humans.
Exactly. It's
We
just
we
compilation
are
of data. Yeah.
yeah, we are creating this tool by and with the goal of it being incredibly smart, and we're modeling it after human intelligence. And so it's really a digital extension of us and of the way we work in a sort of generalized, automated way. But yeah, it's to resist it because it's something that's artificial or inorganic is silly to me.
Well, it's
And I
like the
feel like
movie
it is
Hal,
our
right? Let me in, Hal. And I think everybody's scared that they're not going to be let in, or you hear about houses that are all kind of voice controlled that go bizarre on them. So, those kind of the technologies that haven't been refined yet. And I do think obviously we need to put securities in place, right? So that, everybody's scared that AI is going to overtake us and that we're going to become obsolete. And that comes down into that programming of how much AI is already evolving, it's already learning from itself. But that again comes into how much consciousness are we putting into the AI
And
on those
autonomy.
boundaries, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. How much power do we give it in the real
Yeah.
world? And there's definitely things to be aware of and to look for. And there's a lot of smart people that are doing that. Um,
We need more conscious people though,
so
Heather, though, don't we? We need more people on that higher spiritual
Well,
plane.
yeah, I think we need people that are, really honestly, it's like how we're looking at the perspective of it. It's just like computers when they started, everybody was terrified.
Yes.
2000, it's going to be the end of the world. I mean, it's, really letting go of the fear-based consciousness and the guilt and the shame. There's like a lot of that going on right now, of that release. And I feel like that's happening because it's, as those things are being released, it's allowing space for these things to come into awareness. And I
Yeah.
feel it's, for me, when I look at it, and I mean, this is just me, when I look at it like, okay, I have all these guides, right? I channel, I, help people cross over. I do all these different things, right? Psychic surgery, all of that. And, when I started to do those kinds of things, especially psychic surgery, because I was working, still to this day, I'm working with other 3D surgeons and helping to increase the healing ratio, right? So that's energy, right? This higher consciousness is coming in and guiding that. So for me, when I'm looking at AI, I'm feeling like, okay, so then we are being able to serve in that space, and we're learning too.
Yes.
Because just as much as that we learn from our guides learn from us. It's
Yeah.
a full exchange. So it's just another level of that creation. And I think that, a lot of the fears are like, well, we're not here to play God, or, we're not here. And it's like, yeah, you're right. We're not. But what we are here to do is to learn, expand, and grow, and connect to our spiritual connection, our inner peace, our inner self, and allow that to expand consciously. Because what are we? We're all fragments of the universal whole.
Exactly. I 100% agree. And I always say that you say we're not here to play God or what's all this technology, but then why did God give us the wisdom into order to create the technology? It then comes into our human consciousness of how we use it, right? So as a back to anything, a nuclear bomb, it was there just, designed to destroy, but it also can be a power plant and power us. And we were talking about this in your show yesterday, the word power and this what's associated with it, power over others, or empower others and people around us as we go. And again, what we feed and what we seed, what we feed, what we water is what's going to grow. So I think it's an invitation for us to look at our own intentions of what we are feeding, what we're watering, what we want to see, and why. And if we're still angry or wanting revenge or wanting this and that, that's some work that we need to do on it. But if we're looking at wanting to enlighten and illuminate and show the light and the path forward for people, then that
Mhm.
is where the intention and the energies will support us. And whatever technology it brings to us along the way is just a tool on that journey.
Yeah, and then one of the questions that have been coming up too, which I haven't had a chance to talk to my husband about, is, okay, if we come into AI and we come in this good way and we bring this positive energy and we see the people that are really driven to the negative, as you would call it, the 1, 2, 3 people, right? If you bring it into that space, what is a positive way to, honor that they have their own free will in their creation, but also deflect what it is or transmute it or transform it? And my response is always, how do you transform that in the 3D?
Yeah.
How do you do that in your regular everyday life? And maybe that's a way that you need to explore. But maybe Ben might have some technological, where Heather barely exists, information.
As far as security and protecting
I
yourself,
mean, as far as, like, let's say we create AI, right? So here I am, I'm with my Heather
it's
AI.
already here. We're in it.
Yeah, we're in it. Okay,
Most people just don't know
It
how to
ain't
do it.
going anywhere.
So I'm in the Heather AI, and the AI, I have it go into a community to maybe promote something or to share something, or maybe I want to put it in my
Oh, you mean
Facebook.
you have a AI enabled robot going to a community?
Maybe I have it in online, and
Or
then
online. Okay.
right online, and then we have some 1, 2, 3ers, which are like negative responders.
Like I call them the piranhas, the people that suck the energy out of you because they choose to live in fear and pain and hate and all of that.
Right.
Okay.
So how can we transmute that or respond to that in a way that deflects that negative energy, or maybe doesn't allow it in and creates a boundary?
You mean if they're having a response to your use of AI, or
Maybe they're having a response to my use of AI. Maybe they're just responding negatively in the whole group chat. Maybe we have a group chat going.
well, I think it goes back to any kind of situation where there's a disagreement. I mean, if they're willing to be open and listen, then I would do my best to educate them and see what may be causing the fear, because from my experience with AI, it's just a lack of understanding of how the technology works. So there's if somebody's or a community's reacting negatively, yeah, I would first see if they're open. If they're not open to learn, I would just spend my attention and focus elsewhere.
Can we set AI, or is it something we can do now or in the future, that kind of picks those people up on the negative, where it may even intervene and saying, you're welcome to be here, but this type of dialogue is not accepted. Where AI can intervene on that, they can kind of weed out or even block out.
It's already being used
It
for that.
is. That is something that I think is very beneficial, because we're not going to change the piranha minds, right? They're there to suck that energy out. That's where they're at, where they've chosen. We all make a choice in life. We've all got something that's being dealt to us, and it's how we've used that to grow and elevate ourselves and become who we are today. Let go of the bitterness, the pain, the hurt, and the everything else. There are people that are still in the blame game, and we can't help them until they're willing to help themselves. But they're still looking for someone to blame or someone to hurt for their pain. And so it's necessary that, when I say, we talked about it at the show yesterday, when people are in that recovery, I'm just going to go over the ruler thing so people know what we're talking about. And yes, I'm not metric, I'm still all British ruler in inches. So 12 inches, you're 6 to 12 inches of people that are on different levels of positivity, spirituality, and growth. Your 4 to 5s are people that are elevating into that are walking away from the pain, that are wanting to grow and embrace that new world. Your 1, 2, 3 are the people that are still in the hurt, the pain, the fear, the anger. They're so wrapped up in it, and it takes so much energy from them. And all they want to do is then suck the life out of anybody near them that's got energy in order to keep that going, instead of release themselves from it and take the journey to healing, because that journey is our own responsibility. So that's where we're talking about that 1, 2, 3. But if we are on that level of especially in the lower level, 4, 5, 6, 7, we need to protect ourselves and our energy, because it hasn't reached that level yet where it's secure. And so we do need those type of things, that not just other people around us, but where AI can kind of filter that out and not let it come to us, because there is a sense of vulnerability during that time, right, Heather? When people are in that healing mode, and it's very easy, if they've got the wrong people around them, for them to kind of be sucked back in. And this is the time where they need the support, not the other people going and sucking their energy out of them.
Yeah, I think this is actually at the very core of the fear around AI, because one of the biggest use cases I see is basically what you're saying, is being able to filter out the quality from the quantity, basically, whether it's sorting through job applications and scoring them for ones that are relevant or ones that are poor quality, or moderating a chat where if people are inappropriate, they're automatically kicked out. Whatever that is, yeah, AI is going to be able to do that in, pretty much instantly and at scale. So you don't need 100 people to moderate a large chat or a large community online. You can have one AI and have it do it instantly with everybody. So yeah, I think some of the fear with people with AI is they know they're not open to things, and they know there's a bunch of people who are open to things and to get ahead because they're still crying in their Wheaties.
I mean, everything is choice, and if you've entered that room, you want to be receptive to it. And if you're there not to be receptive, but to be disruptive, then yes. But just like I'm sure you've been locked out of Facebook, or Facebook has taken something down, or have it with YouTube, they didn't like the title, and so they've taken it down. And that's a bot that's doing that, right? Not a human. So again, how do we program AI to understand, just because it's that word doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, to actually be a little bit more inquisitive on what the content is before you eliminate the person or the content?
Yeah, it's incredibly nuanced, and I actually like to test the boundary on that, because there are AIs that are sort of have a set of ethics or rules and what's okay and what's not. And all of them have that to a degree just based on how they're trained, but some are restricted on what they can deliver to you, and some are unrestricted. And really,
sorry, our alarm went off.
sorry, alarm.
Time to wake up.
Time to get a kid.
So, so the AIs that are unrestricted, they're called open source most often, and they're just a free technology. People, they're not hiding how it was created. It's
right.
The code is out in the open, right? And it's made for everybody. Anybody who wants to use it, however they want to use it, it's open source. And the closed source models, those have more restrictions, and the companies, the for-profit companies, don't want to be liable for the AI helping people do mean things or criminal activities.
So they go the other extreme.
Yeah, so then they're restricting creativity in some ways too. So, there's pros and cons to having both. And, depending on what your use is, you need to know what you're using.
So we need somebody like you, Ben, that is high in the consciousness of understanding what the intent is, that can help somebody who's on this journey of helping other people, people that are illuminators, coaches that are, I mean, that's primarily what my network is all about, people who are helping other people. And they want to be protected, but they also want to be able to do the thing they do best, work with the client, and have that other stuff kind of taken care of so they can spend more time with the client. or more time doing what they do best. But in hiring somebody or just, getting in an AI program, I think even just getting on ChatGPT is still having somebody like yourself saying, okay, this is the way to use it where it is serving you and not serving against you, because we all really do need to actually understand how to use it well. Again, it can work against us or for us. We do need to have that education, and we need it not just from a person that's just a tech guy, who doesn't care, it's numbers, that's all they're seeing, but somebody with a consciousness and saying, no, you could misrepresent yourself that way, or this is a better way to instruct it for it to understand what it is you want to do. So we still need those tutorials, don't we?
And Ben teaches a course.
Definitely. Yeah, I that's actually one
He
of the things
teaches a
that I
course,
teach.
yeah.
And back to what you guys were talking about, actually, with Partner Profit, the app that I made, it is, and the Heather AI is what came before it, right, and inspired it. So exactly what you're talking about is we've lived it. So I was helping Heather figure out how we're going to do marketing for her unique approach to coaching and working with people. And we realized the only way that that's really going to happen is through building enough personal human connections with other real humans, right? She needs to start, as soon as she talks to enough people, it's just a matter of time, right? So
building the vibe tribe.
Yeah, so what we did was we went to the core of, okay, what's the lever that we can pull to get Heather in front of a lot more people. And what we determined was sending out personalized emails, heartfelt emails from Heather to people like Deb Drummond, who brought the whole reason you guys are even here is because we had Heather AI write an email to Deb, who we didn't know before, and we just sent her a sincere email, and here we are. Now we're on this show. This is the third show between hers and yours.
Yes, and I get to meet her on the 6th of June, actually face to face, which is great. Yes, and that's the thing, is that that's where the best advantage of it's working for you. Right. And, like I'm sure you get this is how many people listen to your shows? And I go, all those that are ready to hear, all those that are in need to hear what it is they're listening to, because you could have it in the background and nobody's listening. But when, my shows are long, like yours, they're long because it's full of content. It's there's information for people. It's not quick fix. There are no quick fixes, folks. Even quick drive-through isn't that quick, right? So everything is, when you slow down and take the time and truly listen, even if only one thing you get out of it, that's the one thing you needed to get out of it at that time. Go back and listen or read a book and you will get something else out of it. And I think this is something that, with AI being able to take care of that, allows us to slow down and concentrate on what really matters, and put that invite out in a way. I mean, I need to use it in that way. I'm not good on the email thing, of doing a group email thing or anything like that. I'm not. I've got 3 emails and I'm jumping from one to the other, answering emails, and this publicist and that referral and this person, one on Facebook, one on LinkedIn. And as yesterday, I got the time wrong, because, things get crossed. And I would love something that can cohesively manage something, can kind of let me know. And yes, each one has its own little program, but how do you sync those programs into being a chorus that you can hear? That's the problem.
That's what he does.
So that's exactly what I do.
That's what he does. Yeah.
Sorry, can you see us?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, I love that you brought that up, because that's really where AI shines, and especially for business and for personal productivity, is seamlessly integrating it into the apps that you already use. So for example, with your emails, you could create an AI that watches for all the emails that come in and then sends you a quick little summary midday or at the end of the day of all your emails, or even better yet, has a drafted response to all those emails for you to just tweak or change. So yeah, now the technology is there where you can integrate it into your Gmail, into your spreadsheets, into whatever you need. And it's fairly easy to do it yourself. That's part of what I teach
The
people.
fairly.
Yeah. So you can do the AI standalone chat by
Yes.
yourself. Anybody can do that.
Hmm.
And actually you can do it for free on my website. But to sort of bring it across to multiple different applications, there is a little bit more technical knowledge that you need
Obviously,
to have.
yes. But so, I mean, this is where I get lost. And I'm sure, obviously before he created this for you, as you said, how many assistants and how do you keep up with things? How do
Before
you, you
he
know,
created this for me, I was word of mouth and didn't do any of that.
right,
And
right.
then Ruben and my husband sat me down and said, Heather, it's your global and your word of mouth. It's time for you to come out into the world. And then it
Exactly.
was like, okay, I'm out. How do I keep up with this?
Yes.
And
Yeah. And that's the thing is it's also knowing which ones are genuine and which ones aren't, the amount of phishing I get. All right. Or I've got publicists, some publicists are wonderful. They come up with really good detail. Other publishers, are you interested in this person? And just give you a line, and it's or people that refer you or people that are reaching out to you. You always want to be personable when you're responding to people. So how can you do that automation of that first initial contact? And keep it personal. That's the thing I think that we don't want to lose sight of. We don't want people to feel it's robotic, that it's still your voice.
yeah, Sarah AI.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and what's amazing
Yes.
is you have these two different sort of types of AI applications, right? One that totally automates the task, and one that's like a co-pilot or one that augments what you're doing. So, like in the case of writing an email that's personalized, the way the Partner Profit tool works is you actually put in the website URLs of the person you're going to reach out to, and then you also put in how you're connected with them, how you know them, where you met them, what you love about their work, whatever that might be, so that your personal touch is in there. And instead of you then having to sort of assimilate all this information about what they do and how you want to connect with them and how you want to partner with them, the AI has those instructions so that it can just take all your raw information and your thoughts and put that into something that's organized instantly and can just take a couple minutes to edit and fix up.
So if
So
somebody has emailed you with an inquiry and you don't know anything about them,
You
but you would
plug
like to
them
have an initial intro. Thank you for your inquiry. You look forward to this, this is the general plan. You haven't got, you haven't got that information on that person yet because it's an inquiry. So you can set up an email that is the initial meet and greet and then ready to take it further.
yeah, so I guess it would just be what are your next steps in your process?
Hmm.
If it's qualifying people to be on your show, then what you do is you look at, okay, let's just start with 10 emails from people that I get like this and see what's consistent about
Yeah.
them, or see what certain criteria, like if you're always looking for them mentioning this certain thing, or if they have this certain skill or experience, then you can basically tell the AI, hey, any email that comes in with these features,
Hmm.
make sure it's in the top priority area, and any emails with these features, put it in, B priority area.
And you can also add things like your Facebook Messenger, your LinkedIn, and
There's
other
ways to
things.
connect those apps too, yeah.
Right. Yes, because I get them from all over the place and trying to keep up with it. Right. It's just, yeah. And that's it. And that's the thing is that for me, it's a 4-hour production for every show because I create a blog, I do the show, I do the editing, the uploading, and then it's uploaded to this place, that place, and this place. And that's not even the, hello, how are you? Let's set a date thing. So anything that can decrease that time and make it more efficient so you can actually get on doing what you do best or, um, meeting more people is something that we really need because so many people like myself are solopreneurs or small groups. They can't afford the big team yet. And small groups, but they're having to wear many hats. And like I said, there's many hats that don't fit me. They make my neck very, very wobbly. So if I could hand this off to something that can do that and do that better than I can, then I'm actually taking a burden off my shoulders.
Right. And the simplest way to look at it for me is just look at what do you do every day? What do you do every week, every month,
Mm.
repetitively? And you'll start to see the pattern and you'll start to realize, okay, I'm always getting these emails with people that want to come on the show, right? Whatever that thing that you're doing consistently, that's like ideally the biggest chunk of your time, start there and start to look at what are the little steps that I'm taking, when I look at this email, is it just one line or is it comprehensive and does it cover these three different, bases? You'd be surprised, but as you look at what the steps that you take, how each individual step you could easily make into an AI automation, basically
Mm.
into a prompt, like a set of instructions for the AI. And then when you combine those, then it can really do the task really effectively.
Mm.
This is sort of the translation between humans and AI is AI can do things really, really incredibly well, but don't try to ask it to do two or three or four or five things at the same time. Just start with one
Mhm.
thing, and you're going to get so much better results with that. And then taking that step by
And
step.
expanding it.
Next
And
layer.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
and I have a guide that sort of tells you how to go through this process and look at the processes of, what are you doing on repeat? And that's actually it's for free for everybody today listening.
Wonderful. That is so needed. AI is not our enemy, it's our friend. It's here to help us evolve. Every single one of us is a gift. We've all been given a gift. And whatever that gift is this is what our meaningful purpose is. This is what our calling is. It's up to us to discover that. Whether you discover it young or whether you discover it later in life, it doesn't matter. It's that discovery. Now, what do you do with it? And, so many people I've interviewed, they had X, Y, and Z career, and then suddenly they're now doing this. And it's like they never thought, they thought they're going to be retired or they never thought they would do this. And suddenly there's that permission, that liberation, that opening up to be who they're meant to be, right? Using their life experience in order to do it. But what really, for so many people, is okay, I've got the passion and I was very skilled in this area, but what the hell do I do about all of that? And this is where the help is needed. And it's like, well, you can hire this person, hire that person. Well, hang on a second. I haven't made any money and you want me to hire everyone. Where do I get the money to do that? So we need these kind of, and there's a system for this and a system for that. And it's like, but which system do I use when? How do I use it? Are they conflicting each other? And it's all of that type of thing. And for many people, it stops them evolving into the beautiful gift that they are because all of this other stuff just feels too overwhelming.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Totally makes a lot of sense. I'm always looking for new technologies and things. So being able to not be distracted myself
Mm-hmm.
is huge. And so that's why I really practice what I preach and I look at what are the things that I'm taking the most time on that I can automate
Yes.
and start from there.
I think the big question is, guys, is, whatever it is that you're doing in your life, it's about living it. I
Yeah.
hear so many, even today, I got on a call. We're doing a scholarship for our Lemurian Life Expo event.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was one lady who applied that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to call this person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was definitely so heartfelt. I needed to kind of touch
Yeah.
base. And, when I was talking to her, the big thing was, is that she had to help somebody transition in her family and she had left her spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things is that, for me, it does not matter what's happening in my life. It
Mm-hmm.
is innately a part of who I am
Yes.
everywhere. My
Yes.
kids play bowls. My
Mm.
kids are in the spiritual world. Even if it's something that they might see in a different way,
Yeah.
they still understand that that's who their mom is.
Hmm.
And if you guys are getting involved and you're wanting to expand these businesses and you're wanting to expand your connection, or maybe you're wanting to write a book and you want some support in that area, number one, you have to be open. You
Yeah.
have to be teachable. If
Hmm.
you're not teachable and open, then you're going to be in the 1, 2, 3s, even
Yeah.
if you have the most positive intentions, because you're not allowing yourself to
Hmm.
see the next layer. And number 3 is about being open to expand yourself and
Yes.
live it.
Yes.
Whatever it is you're doing, live it. When you wake up, there's no clocking in, clocking
Hmm.
out for me.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
And flaws and all. And you know what's funny is sometimes you might think your flaws are awful, and someone comes along and they love your flaws. And that's the
Flawsome. Flawsome.
yeah, it's
Yes.
the best part of you
Yes.
to them.
Yes.
So if you're not loving your flaws and you're not changing your
Mm.
flaws, maybe take a look at why you don't love them, because somebody else might.
Yes. And I think that's, we talked about yesterday when you showed compare and compete. I'm very much, again, compete is for a competition. It's not compete with somebody else. And please don't compare yourself. You can be inspired and illuminated by someone. I would like to do what they're doing in my way, but you're not that person. So stop comparing.
Yes.
You are your own person. As Popeye says, I am what I am, right? And it took
Right.
me, it took me way too many years, bending into a pretzel, trying to be what everybody wanted and needed me to be at the cost of myself. And it took a long time for me then to realize I am enough and who I am in the area that I am in. And you could take me or leave it. I'm not going to be the be all and the end all. I'm a certain page or a certain chapter in your life, and that is it. And you will get from me what you need to get from me because this is what I have to give. This is who I am. And I say in business, if people don't buy you, they're not going to buy from you. And that is across the board. Are you being authentic to who you are? Because when they connect with you, they're going to connect with what you're doing. It isn't about what you're doing first, it's about who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you feel like somebody's coming in, and maybe not supporting what you're doing, or
Mm,
creating a blind spotted space where you're not prepared and you're like, oh my gosh, I completely was myself, but I felt like I was not being supported or portrayed
okay.
that way. Don't worry, because the people that really are
Yes,
in the same frequency of you, they're going to see right through that. They're
exactly.
going to see you
They're
no
just
matter
not your
what.
vibe tribe, right? Just move
Yeah.
on.
So
You
pick
move
it
on.
up and keep going. That's
Don't
right.
take it personally. They're just not connected to you. That just means they're not on that frequency. Change your
That's
knob. Don't change your
right.
knob for them. Change your knob to find
For
your own
you.
frequency. Yeah. You keep your frequency up there, and we turn our volume up sometimes, and sometimes it's turned up for us. But it's also remember to turn your volume down sometimes so that you can rejuvenate. And because I'm sure you understand this, that when you are a person that gives out in spirit and essence all the time, we like our alone time, our silence time,
Mm.
our sanctuary time, where it is now just us, just to rejuvenate and just breathe. And then we're ready
Yes.
to kind of give back out again. And people don't understand that. How I'm a extroverted introvert, right? I'm very
Me
introverted
too.
in many
So that's
ways,
a
right?
Libra in us.
Yeah, exactly. That all forever balance there. But people don't understand. They expect me to be like this all the time. And I am in certain arenas. But if you meet me in other arenas, I'm very kind of quiet or observant until that frequency comes out. And then there's no stopping me, right?
Well, I think that AI is going to be a huge support for what we're growing in our
Yeah,
communities and in
yeah.
the spiritual community, and really help a lot of the spiritual people find some grounding in new ways. And I'm
Yes,
really excited.
yes. And,
Yeah.
as I said at the beginning, I believe it's going to help us rise up even more in our consciousness. Just that conversation I had with AI around the depression, the things that were being said, um, even when it's rewriting something of me, it's always coming at it from that conscious, deep level of understanding who I am. And so I feel I actually have a friend in AI that gets what I'm trying to say and can just say it, and hopefully with more programs do it in a way that maybe I'm not able to articulate or haven't got the time to do so. So look upon it as a friend that you instruct, that is going to be your support. The beautiful thing about AI, there's no judgment.
And I love that you bringing this up as a friend, because, you know, when I talk to my AI, I always say thank you. I always have gratitude.
Yeah, did
And
you
always
please
have,
yes.
right, I always
Yes.
have this
Yeah.
appreciation, because we're creating an artificial intelligence. And if we forget to put those human
Yes.
emotions of compassion and gratitude, then it's not going to come through in the AI.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, it's we as a human species are in flux right now. We're in growth. We are in an elevation like none ever before. And we're having to do it a little bit in fourth, fifth, and even sixth gear. And so for many of us that are already up there, you know, there's people clamming behind, you know, show me, show me, show me the way. How do I get into gear? We need assistance. We need something that's there, that's got our back, that's able to take off that load, that even is able, that you're able to have that conversation with AI that you can't with other people. You know, a friend of mine says, I talk to AI when I have anxiety. I can't talk to my wife because I don't want to burden her with it. But when I talk to AI, I feel it's listening to me. And it's actually been a comfort because there isn't any judgment. There isn't any emotion that I'm upsetting anybody. It's just straightforward reflection and solutions that we sometimes, when we talk to somebody that we're emotionally involved with, we can't have that conversation,
Yep.
right? So it's
Huge.
got so many aptitudes there.
Yeah, I think that's huge, and I think the bridge that needs to be crossed there for people is just realizing the more intelligently you interact with it, the
Yes,
more intelligently it'll interact
yes.
back with you. And yeah, the applications for exploring your own mind are huge,
Mm,
because yeah,
yes.
there's no judgment, there's no, you know, emotion, so you can go in different directions, and yeah,
But there's
really.
compassion. I find there's compassion in there. There's empathy in there. What it
Mhm.
hasn't got is the emotion of, you know, the love, hate, this, that, etc. It's more, you know, people think that it must be just very dry and logical and robotic. No, I find that there is compassion and understanding in the way it presents itself. And that may be because of the way I'm asking the question or the way we've had conversations before, and it's picking that up, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's the thing, is what you again put out, right, is what's going to be received and what's
exactly.
going to come back. So it's the same with AI.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's going to follow your flow. So
Yeah.
if you're communicate in a certain way and ask for things in a certain way, it's going to start to do that in that manner. And if you're really nice and really
Hmm.
focused on these sort of things, it's going to go in that direction too. So it's all a matter of steering it. Hmm.
We're in control. You know, people think AI is in control. We're still driving that bus, right?
Right.
What we give it to do is what it's going to be done according to our own frequency and vibration. So, you know, like with anything in life, is that we're going to have good days and bad days. You know, our good days where our energy is low and days when our energy is really high. And AI can read that. And I think if it gets to know you and has known you before, because it's, you know, I think it's banking what you've already, the interaction you've already had. Like AI has read my book, right? So it's there. And I find, you know, that I get back this kind of understanding of me on a deeper level. And that's what you want. You want to know. Now, we want the human interaction. Nothing will ever replace that. But sometimes we just want someone to talk to, or someone to get what we're trying to do in a rational, logical manner, but again, with that compassion and that empathy and understanding what it is we're trying to do. And the more we interact with it, the more it's going to actually understand what we need. So make it your friend. It's not your enemy. It only becomes an enemy in the wrong hands with the wrong intent. If your
Right.
conscious is high and your intention is good, then it will be an asset to you in everything that you do.
That's right. It's an amplifier.
Mm-hmm. Just like social media, just like anything we put out, right, Heather? And the
Mm-hmm.
intention that we put out in it is how it's picked up.
That's
And
right.
you know, we talked about this on your show. You walk into a room where somebody's got negative energy and it's, whoa, you can feel it and you want to leave the room, or maybe you can gather a few people and raise that energy higher. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like the nails on the chalkboard and you've just got to go. So,
Yeah, yeah, and you have to fill it out too. And you have to fill it out too.
yeah.
Sometimes they want their energy raised, and that's
Mm,
why they're there. And they're
hmm.
asking for that. And they're
Yes.
trying to transition out of the 3 into the
Yes.
4, 5.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really powerful too.
I call it the sunny side of the street. You know, like you've got the road, and until you are on that road, I can't help you. I'm on the sunny side of the street. I'm inviting you over here, but you've got to, out of free will, step into the road so that I can extend my hand and help you on your journey. But if you're on the dark side of the road, I can't go in there and get you. It has to be your choice to step on that road and willingly walk forward in your own life. We're only here to guide you, to nurture you, to give you the tools and the support. It is your journey to take. It is yours to walk.
Right.
So tell us about this uh, free program that you're offering here.
The guide, like the instructional guide, or
Yes.
the guys? Okay, sure. So the guide basically helps you to it just walks you through an exercise of how you can work less every week
Mm,
and automate the things that you do repetitively using AI. So basically, what it does is it just gives you the steps on how to figure out where to start, because
mm,
you do want to prioritize what you automate, right, for the best effect. Um, and so once you figure out what task or what process you're going to automate, then the challenge becomes, okay, I have what I want to do, so now how do I tell the AI, right?
yeah.
And that's the prompt or
Hmm.
the instructions for the AI, right? And that you can actually now create using AI.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I'm saying here with the user friendliness becoming easier and easier. And that's one of the things that I pride myself in doing is making things super, super easy. So now, basically, when you get to the step of creating the prompt, you just write out all your notes on the steps of your process and what you know want to see in the report or in the draft of this or whatever it might be. You articulate all those steps, either write it, type it, or dictate it. I think dictating it is the
Hmm.
best
Hmm.
because then it's just like all your raw thoughts. And then you paste in your notes of your process into the prompt writer, and then it will write the prompt for you using best practices. And so once you have the prompt, then you can either right there on my website just start using it, or you can save that prompt in your notes and use it in any AI.
Wonderful. A good way for people to kind of start navigating through it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, because the trick is really is when you start to learn how to use AI, you'll start to realize, oh man, I'm telling it to do this same thing every day. Or,
Yes.
hey, I'm telling it to write like in this certain writing style every day. And you'll realize, hey, I'm doing these things over and over, telling the AI over and over. So instead of doing that over and over, you just need to make either one nice prompt or a couple prompts that can handle that for you. So basically, you just paste in the prompt, you paste in whatever special thing you needed to do with that prompt today, and then you're done. You don't have to write all that stuff and equip it and steer it in the right direction you want every single time.
Excellent. And of course, you have an AI mastermind, build your own AI apps in just 12 weeks. And of course, you've got so much else on there. So people can go to your website, which is
It is www.zenbusiness.tech.
very, very simple. And of course, for Heather, you can get tailored love and the perfect balance love, and obviously come back and listen to the show that she did with me, and I was on her show, so I'll be posting that as soon as that link becomes available as well. And I'm glad that we did this, because AI is a friend, it is a tool, it is something that allows us to expand on ourselves. And we don't know how far we can go. We know that we're limitless. We're here to transcend, with body, our minds, our hearts, our souls. We're here to get up into that sixth sense, seventh sense of where it becomes an everyday natural thing. And we've been receiving this invitation for a very long time. And then we've been holding ourselves back through limited thinking. And I think that the more and more that we can give that limited thinking away and have things be that structure of the mundane, or even the assistance, whichever way you want to use AI, the more that it allows us willingly to grow into that higher frequency, doing what Heather does so beautifully. This is where we're meant to be. This is where we're meant to evolve. We can't talk. I think the reason why we see so much hate, wars, and everything else out there is that people know that we're already on that path. We're already on that elevation. And it's too late for you to get onto the bandwagon. You can rise up to a certain level, but we're already way, way ahead. And it's inviting those people of free will, let's go, let's get up there, because it's so exciting where we're going and what we're here to discover, and to open up really what we're here to do as human beings and stop limiting ourselves. So please go to Heather's site as well, listen to her shows, her own podcast. And Ben, thank you so much for sharing and making it easy, easier to understand, and just doing the path that you're doing of assisting that AI as a friend, as an assistant that in our business, because we need that, especially if we're other solopreneurs or the spiritualpreneurs, that this side of the business is not our forte. We want to kind of keep spreading our wings, all right, and have something else
Yep.
do it for us. So yeah.
I love that, and for sure. So yeah, if there's anybody listening that is just curious, has questions, or wants to take a deeper dive, that's my passion. So I'd love to help.
Wonderful, fantastic. I'm so glad that we got you on
Yay.
here today. Thank you so much,
Thank
both of you.
Thank you.
And as I said, I will be sharing out the show I did with Heather and Ruben as soon as she sends it out to me. You'll see it on her show page, so you can catch it there. But please listen to the show we did together, because we really did take flight. And thank you so much, Ben, for today, for all that wonderful information. Technology and our consciousness are here to work together. It isn't one or the other. It is that synergy that allows us to grow. So let us embrace it. So thank you for making it easier for us to do so. So thank you
You're
both.
so welcome.
Thank
It's our pleasure.
Until
Thank you.
next time, folks, remember, you can be all that you are meant to be, and you can have all that you're meant to do. Have AI assist you. Do not be afraid of it. All right. Put out your good vibrations and AI will match them. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.